One man in this chapter builds the first empire. What happens after him changes the course of the bride's story forever. Genesis 10 looks like a dry genealogy. Nations, sons, and tribes scattered after the flood. But this chapter is more than a family tree. It's the blueprint of where humanity runs when God offers covenant. Away from him. Instead of choosing intimacy with the groom, they choose empire, power, and rebellion. The chapter traces the descendants of Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Each line spreads across the earth, filling lands and forming nations. But hidden inside the names is a dangerous figure, Nimrod, the grandson of Ham. Genesis says, Nimrod became a mighty man on the earth, a mighty hunter before the Lord. At first glance, that sounds heroic, but the phrase, before the Lord, suggests defiance. Nimrod's hunting wasn't for animals, it was domination. He builds the first cities, the first empire, and lays the foundation for Babel. This is the shocking undercurrent of Genesis 10. Humanity doesn't just scatter, it organizes against God. Nimrod's cities become centers of rebellion, not worship. Babel is coming, and with it, the first attempt at a one-world system without God. For the bride, the lesson is clear. From the beginning, there are always 2 ways to live, in covenant with the groom or in rebellion with the crowd. But God still threads his promise through the line of Shem. From Shem's descendants will come Abraham, Israel, and ultimately Christ. Even as nations drift into empire and arrogance, God prepares a people who will carry his covenant forward. Genesis 10 is proof that God's plan for the bride is never lost, even when the world chases its own power. This chapter is a mirror for our times. Nations rise, empires form, leaders boast of their strength, and people gather under banners of pride and rebellion. But the bride's identity is different. She doesn't belong to Babel or empire. She belongs to the groom, whose kingdom is not of this world. Genesis 10 isn't boring at all. It's the setup for one of the greatest confrontations in Scripture, Babel versus God. And it forces the question, are you building your life in Nimrod's empire or in covenant with the groom? If you believe the bride of Christ must never bow to empire but only to the groom, put the word kingdom in the comments. And if this shook you, like it, share it, and don't miss the next chapter.